Welcome to another episode of what is it, Mo?
You're the Ricans.
I'm Lightsaber Lou.
I'm Lieutenant Commander Mo. And welcome again to another edition. Oh, wow. Wow, I am in a sort of wow and a sort of phase at this moment because I don't know if you watched it yet, but I have.
Section 31.
Oh.
Yes, I watched it.
There it is, people.
And I have my mix.
Go right ahead.
Last time we spoke about how you felt that it should have went to theater.
I was thinking, that if you're going to turn it into a feature film,
yes,
then they should have done like in Marvels when they did Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow. They did part of it in the theater, and then they did the other part online at the streaming service.
Right.
This was just strictly streaming. Now, I got lucky, thanks to group leader Michael, the New York City away team, because they have a relationship, and they called on us, this group, to be part of the actual screening of Section 31 in the city on Wednesday.
Okay.
So went down there, checked it out. Oh yeah, but it was star-studded, bro. Because
who did you
they had Sonequa Martin Green, they had Melissa Navia, Miss Gooding, they had Anthony Rabb, Wilson Cruz, but one particular name that just went like made me go what? But not so much. But I was like saying, I wonder. Rosario Dawson. She was there. Yes, Ahsoka was there.
Traitor. She's a traitor.
I love you no matter what, Rosario. I love you. It's like, so you got to get your hand in there when it comes to franchise money. You got to get in there, bro. And I would love to see her in a Starfleet uniform.
Did she produce, maybe? Look at the credits.
I would have to look at the credits if that was the case. But
maybe
if you're there supporting someone, just either your friend. But the thing is, you're getting your foot in the door, and it's like that's a perfect way to get your foot in the door. You have a little party.
But she's already associated with the biggest franchise there is. Star Wars.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Sorry, I can keep a straight face.
Already associated with the biggest thing.
Oh, yeah. Excuse him. He just doesn't know. Excuse him. But seeing her, I was like, damn, if it comes to light that somewhere down the line she gets a shot, I'm like, I can't wait to see what she would do.
Right.
Really do. And it would make like another franchise historical moment because you had Catherine Janeway as the first female captain. And then came Michael Burnham, who became the first female black captain.
Yes.
Why not have a female Latina running the ship? Why not? You already have Melissa Navia in Strange New Worlds, who flies the ship anyway.
Right.
So why don't you have a captain in there? I mean, it just makes sense. If you're going to break all barriers like they did, inclusive, all barriers across the board, bring on a Latina. Bring on a Latin captain, whether it's male or female, but bring on a Latino to sit in the chair. Why not? I would love to see that. But as my feelings for Section 31, you're right. It should have been, I thought it would have been a feature film. The only time it was featured is during that premiere party. And then we watched it again Friday, amongst ourselves as a group. And I'm like, I would have bet, they were going to try and get some dollars at the box office, for every Star Trek fan who doesn't get to go to the premiere or online. But then I started thinking, wait, box office dollars, excuse that tongue twist, is little in compared to streaming number, excuse me. Because in the streaming service you're paying monthly, and you're still watching the exclusive and everything else monthly. Mm-hmm. So you're sticking to that. So $10 a month for however long they keep the service versus one time Saturday and Friday. So even if they go 2 or 3 times, $17 or $20 depending on where you go. That's a one time, and then it has only a month, and then it's gone. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the streaming service, it's there. Watch as many times as you want, and you're still paying that money.
I felt that it wasn't strong enough to be in a theater. I felt that I was watching a futuristic, spoiler alert here by the way, Mission Impossible.
You and all my group, I got, here's the feelings I got. It's like Mission Impossible.
Yes.
18.
Wow. Yes.
18 feels. What else? Kind of a Goonies feel too, because of the characters are misfits. They're not actually like, I don't know. It's like Michelle Yeoh one thing, and then the other character who is from not of this time, 300 years from the eugenics war. So his, their version of their Superman, and I'm like, okay, the Deltan. Okay, then you had an Irish laughing Vulcan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It took me for the time, I'll tell you that much. I had to drink me a point just to get used to it.
And then I'm aging myself here. The Misfits.
The Misfits. I mean, it had all sorts of vibes like that. And when I think about it, I say, okay, that's good, because in a way you're getting you're actually getting a different feel, and you're getting a lot of different feels from people. So that means, at least from the storytelling, they got something good, because people are getting similar but yet close to feelings of how the story is. But yes, the one thing that did stand out was that they didn't talk about Section 31, the actual organization in itself. And we heard about it, we knew about it from the days of Deep Space Nine, and watching them evolve from there. And then the next time they came up was in Enterprise. Yes. Then you go back, fast forward from Enterprise to like the 23rd century with Discovery, but then it felt like more of a watered down version versus what they already had in, like I said, Deep Space Nine and in Enterprise. It looked watered down. I mean, that's one of the opinions I got. And I kind of agree, because it didn't. Remember, Section 31 is a Black Ops organization, plain and simple. They're a Black Ops organization. Yeah, so like any Black Ops, they're the ones that are called upon to keep the peace. They're the ones who investigate and make sure, as far as the intel to the enemies or anything happening in the galaxy, they're involved with. They're there. They're the person in the shadows, or what they say, the big brother, so to say. And they're there watching, and yes, getting involved when necessary. And if they have to get their hands dirty, well, that's what That's what the mission, like a Mission Impossible, like you said, Mission Impossible, to say this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds, and if you're caught, or we will disavow you.
I was waiting for that thing to say we will go into warp speed if you don't take this.
Well, I would have liked that, because spoiler alert, there's a famous gal whom I adore at the very end, who it didn't click on to me that she was the one giving the mission. She was the voice of the mission from the very beginning.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God,
that surprised me.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was surprised and extremely delighted. I'm saying to myself, "Are you a Star Trek fan?"
We're not going to say, right? Let's leave it up to the audience. Go watch it.
Yeah,
watch Section 31.
And if not, if you want to get an idea, go to Halloween.
Go to Halloween,
Yeah, go to Halloween. Yeah. Either way, she surprised the hell out of me. I was like, what? And I said, wait, that's her voice in the beginning. How come did I not get everybody? Myself, Ed, a couple of people like, how did I not get that? Because that's a kind of recognizable voice. Yes. But I'm listening to it. I'm like,
maybe not. She didn't scream.
Well, yeah, no. That's in my dreams. I'm sorry. Sorry. We're a little PG-13 there. Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah. I didn't recognize it. Just because we were so intent to see the opening, how the story opens up, and then going into Act 2, how things develop. They kind of gave you a brief synopsis. Like she disappeared at one point, but she went to the future. That's why she disappeared, and then she pops up somewhere else later. And I'm like, I wonder about that. So, and then that's it. And they don't go into the idea of what Section 31 is about.
And that's another thing. What this takes place in timeline of...
Well, it goes back to the Discovery timeline, Strange New Worlds timeline, Kirk timeline, all of that from the year like 23rd century timeline.
Because right she did show up in Discovery with the...
Well, she was taken from her universe, the Terran universe, and brought to our universe. Or say the prime timeline, if you want to be exact. So she was in that universe, and then she helped stop the destruction of the entire universe by stopping Control taking over. Control, and that one with that storyline, it kind of gave like Borg vibe right there, because there were nanites involved, and they're robotic, little robots that are controlling everything with the program. The program wanted to grab another piece of information so they could become sentient. And I'm like, it's giving off a lot of Borg vibes.
Yeah.
But suffice to say, they defeated them. And then but to defeat them, they had to go through the 31st century. And then she was there, but then all of a sudden, at some point, her molecules started, almost ripping herself apart. And they had the scene where they brought her to a planet because the spear knew where to take her, and it introduced to an old. From those who have watched the original series will know when I say the Guardian of Forever, and that's the entity that has a doorway that you look and you see what timeline, and you can jump back into time or forwards into time. But they started to hide themselves because when they had the not the eugenic wars, that was about the Superman. When they had the I forgot what they call it. It had a war based on time travel. They were definitely against it, and then in the future they made rules against it. But in that war during time, that doorway was used so much.
Archer touched on it.
Yeah,
Archer touched on that.
Yeah, but not on the Guardians.
No.
But in Enterprise, yes,
yeah.
he was visited by Daniels, who was that person in the future, and he was a time traveler for or at least Starfleet time cops, if you want, for the lack of a better term.
Another thing I didn't like at the end, that space station went into warp. No space station can do that.
That one does.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but it did. Just like DS9 wasn't equipped for war, but come the time when the Dominion started walking on the door, all of a sudden they had like 5 photon torpedoes and at least a good 10 to 12, no, 15 different phaser housings, and they were handling a whole army of Klingon at the time when they thought they wanted to step their foot in.
And I believe they had impulse power.
Yep, they did.
But they didn't have warp.
They didn't have warp, but it's not like impossible to do. It's not impossible because in the 31st century, Starfleet headquarters was a ship.
It's true.
And it was already equipped with shuttlecrafts that can warp and can fight. So they had the best of both worlds. So yes, it is possible for that to happen. And with Section 31, okay, they had all the future tech, meaning that whatever that was considered something that is actually new and not going to be put into Starfleet service, they had. Like in season 2, Tyler was tapping his comm badge and making communication. He's like, "What the hell is that?" And he's making communication. So I was like, "Okay, so we already know now somewhere in the 23rd century they already had developed the comm badge that can touch and communicate."
Yeah.
But they haven't put it in distribution to the whole fleet. So in that respect, you see these things, but again, they still in the Section 31 movie they still left out the purpose of Section 31. They're Black Ops. This is what they do. Yeah, they put in Commander Garrett, who supposedly is the actual Garrett who will become Captain Garrett of the Enterprise C. If you've watched the episode from the Next Generation, yesterday's Enterprise, the C came back into time, wound up in the future because some sort of temporal distortion. The D helped repair and send it back without their captain because she kind of died through an incident because of the Klingons. But either way, that is that same Garrett. And I'm like, really? It's like, even one guy pointed out that with the numbers and the timeline don't work. But you know what? Before I even finish that thought, leave that open to you to look it up, the timeline of Captain Garrett of the USS Enterprise C. We'll come back with the explanation behind it. All right? So, beaming out. See you after these clicks.
I'm beaming out only because Star Wars doesn't have that.
No, they don't.
Come, let's play. LDM Radio. Come, let's play. Fun is what we crave.
Let's go. You're listening to New York City's LDM Radio. Another long stretch of continuous music. Back into time. Flashback.
Make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna make my
New York City's LDM Radio.
The best radio station in the world. Is right here, right now.
And materializing here again. That way, I'm make sure everything is in place. Oh, it's bigger. No, I'm sorry. Thanks to the energizing. Again, if you were with us before the commercial break, we're talking about the time space between this movie, Section 31, and of course yesterday's Enterprise, in which it featured the same character, Captain Rachel Garrett. So, one of my guys, Ed, thank you, Ed, did the numbers, and he said, look, if she is the exact Rachel Garrett that's supposed to be the captain, at the time of that episode of yesterday's Enterprise, she would have been 94 years old. So there's a 12-year gap here. So the more acceptable idea is that this Rachel Garrett is the mother. She'll eventually have had a child before she, was in Section 31. She probably already had a child, and that child is being raised, and sooner or later will probably take up the mantle with her and go to Starfleet, and then eventually run up the ranks until she's made captain. So that makes more sense. Because you tell me, unless there's some sort of time traveling episode, which in the realms of Star Trek, that's always a good plot story to fall on, past or present.
Right, they did it a few times.
Oh, I've done it so many times. When they had the time cops come in and they'd say that out of everyone in the history of the Federation, Captain James Tiberius Kirk is the most reckless abuser of time. He's done it a lot more times than anyone could say probably that they have, but it does happen. And
whereas Picard broke the most prime directives.
Oh God, yeah, that's not. Those are the good old days, as he put it. Yes. Oh my God. So, with that being said, you have Garrett and you have Michelle Yeoh. She was excellent. Everybody's consensus is the same. Michelle Yeoh was excellent in this movie. She did bring out her character. Okay, we got a bit of an origin as to how she became the Emperor, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so people were like wondering, like they didn't seem to care it that much because they didn't really want to know if she was a softie enough. But I always look at origin stories have a way of defining who the character is in the long run. Yes, she became Philippa Georgia Augustus, and she was the Emperor. And yeah, she laid people to waste. She didn't play no games. Mm-hmm. Boom, Klingons, boom, drop a bomb in their core, boom, they're done. Vulcan, boom, they're done. Now you're an ally. Romulans, really? That's a joke. Goodbye. Yeah. She didn't play. She was the most, she's committed the most murders out of any emperor in the Terran Empire, ever. I'm like, wow, that's saying a lot. But I guess her time when she got drawn into the Prime universe with Burnham, and seeing what Burnham is doing, and seeing what Starfleet is on this end versus the empire that they had, something clicked. It was, I guess, because it was Burnham and her love for her Burnham, how it translated to this one, and how she saw. I know she saw the difference between the two, but she looked at her more of a daughter than anything else, and did whether you want to believe it or not, she protected her. Fight for her. God forbid you cross paths. She's ready to kick your ass. Sorry, I said ass. There you go.
I just didn't feel the other shows. They got my attention quick. Mm-hmm. This one, from the minute they showed that little device to take the mission, I was like, what the hell is this? Mission Impossible, come on.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be original here.
Well, they gave you the feel of it because Section 31 is about that. Whatever the mission is at hand, whatever it is that Federation or Starfleet can't, like they talked about in the missioning opening, Starfleet can't go into those borders. We don't have a treaty with them, so we can't go in there.
Section 31 can.
Exactly. So they are the gray area, organization that can go into those places. It's like I mean, it's not a perfect analogy, but it's like every branch of the service has their own specialized group. You know, the Navy has the SEALs. Let's see, with the Army, you have, let me see, was it Green Berets, and so on and so forth. With each one, they have an iteration of a group of people that will go into areas that, you know, if you're caught, we disavow that you even existed, and that's it. But that's what that purpose is for.
And the characters, they really didn't draw me in.
No, not all. I mean,
they really didn't draw me in.
I mean, which one got the Cameloid? He was funny. I liked him as a shapeshifter and as an actor too, because he's been in certain films that, like Tomorrow's War. I loved him in that.
He's all right, but there's only so much you could do with a shapeshifter, and that's gonna run out quick.
But here's where my second theory comes in. Okay, to me, no matter what, I look at it, this was still feeling like a pilot for a show, or part one of, you know.
Well, they gave us 2 episodes when you think about it.
Yeah, they gave you 2 episodes. They made it into one film.
Yeah.
But this is part one. Let's say this is like, you know, like I said, Section 31-1. Then you'll get Section 32-2, and then it should probably delve into more, you know, into the story of Section 31 and whatever mission they're facing up next. But that's how I'm looking at it. It's like if they took the first 2 and made a movie, then let's say they have a season's worth and they're making it into a second, third, and a fourth film. Yeah, there you go. And the development that would have been done across a show, maybe say in 8 episodes, is now going to be done in, say, 4 films. I'm looking at it that way. I'm looking at it as they're trying to engage the audience to find out how much interest, bad or otherwise, has gained from it. Because interest equals dollars. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, look, Paramount, like any other streaming service, is in the business of making money. So they want to look at the numbers. How not to look at the numbers by putting something out there and giving people a taste and then seeing the reaction of that taste. It's like, oh, that's it. Please, I don't want that.
Right.
Oh, or be like Oliver, more, sir. May I please have more? And that's what they're looking at. I'm looking at it from that aspect. I mean, from a fan, I'm like, I liked it. I did like it. It had, like I said, all the vibes of Mission Impossible, A-Team, Goonies. All across the board, there was something good as far as the action was concerned. Now, what's missing, which is iconic for Star Trek, is the story behind it. They gave you a tidbit, just enough so you can go, okay, that's. But we want more because we've seen it all. Mm-hmm. We've already seen this. It's not like something new to us, but we need to see it in the sense where you're giving them their story. So give them their origin, not just Georgia's origin. Section 31 origin. They give them their origin, why they became Section 31. Why did they all of a sudden needed a team of people to go into the gray area? It's like Enterprise and the Makos. Makos, in all reality, are nothing but a Marine squad. They're the ones of the foot soldiers that go down, do the groundwork or whatever, or be the defense. And they used them throughout the show that way, but then they became incorporated and then became security. Like security on that ship was one guy, but Malcolm only did so much, but the Makos did the rest. So now you take the Makos and make them part of Starfleet, not just a separate entity of the full. Because the naval aspect of Star Trek has to be encompassing everything from Army, Air Force, Marines, and the Navy. It's all supposed to be all in one. So again, Section 31 is that. It's part of something, but separate, but for the missions that Starfleet themselves can't do.
But I mean, like I said, the show was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the show. I'm not going to say I liked it for now. I got to watch another episode.
See, you're still calling it a show, even though it's a movie.
But that's
the feel. No, I agree with you in that's the feel that I got. That it's a pilot show. And I'm waiting like if the numbers are enough and they'll go, okay, we're going to turn it into a show. Because now they can know, okay,
So wait, this was a one-time thing? Then I'm going to do another one?
I hope to do another one. No. There's no next week. This is Section 31, the film, done for now. For now, yes. The end showed the ship disappearing, the space station. So
I thought it was a series.
that's what I'm saying. It gives you the vibe of a series. But if it was a true feature, that's why I was like, well, why didn't they do it like they did with Black Widow? Why didn't they put it in the theaters and make some theater money? But I said, it maybe makes more sense to generate revenue from the streaming side of it. Word of mouth goes out. People want to buy into now Paramount Plus to watch this feature film. Especially if you're a Michelle Yeoh fan and you don't have Paramount Plus, boom, guess what happens? Now you have Paramount Plus.
That makes it a little more.
That's why I said, let's say it was an 8-episode show, like I was saying before, 8 episodes. You take each 2 episodes and create a film out of that. Add a little extra for, say like an end credit for the next, the next 2 episodes or the next movie. But you're developing it as a feature film that people are going to come, new fans and old, jump on board and watch. To me, I'm thinking it's like, that's marketing genius, but I don't know. But I'm looking at it and keeping a close eye on it.
That guy, I'm sorry, he looked like Common.
Yes! Yo! What? You are the first. I agree with you 100% when you said that, because the first time I looked at him, I thought, so I thought, is that Common? I said, no, it's not Common, but it's like, oh shit, Common.
Yeah.
Hello,
snaps.
sorry.
Snap.
So snaps. And I'm like, oh my God. No. But he did a good job playing that. Even when you could, and this is probably me and maybe anyone else has seen it could probably agree, go to our Facebook page and comment about it. But I thought there was kind of like this little naughty tension between him and Yo at times.
Yes.
I was like, there's some naughty time about to happen, because I just get that feel that maybe in the next film they might show that, but right now it's like And then the reintroduction of the character that supposedly he left or disappeared, supposedly died, but did not, and then his wife took over that body. Yeah. And now I went from an Irish Vulcan to then a southern Vulcan.
That was funny.
And then we were laughing and said they should have just changed that to a Latin character. So he become in Latin and say, mira, bueno, voy a coger ese hombre, lo voy a cortar los huevos, no joda. Like that. So then that would have been more funny if you brought a Latin character and did that. So, he's Latin and he's got pointed ears. Que el diablo. But, that's what I got from it, man. And I really, really hope that the reaction, like out there, if you're watching, have at it. Tell them, like it or love it, but generate that friction, because I think this is their way of understanding that there's interest. And that means they got to do more. They really have to then work on it, because now that people are interested. Like it or love it, it still equals revenue. It still equals numbers. So now, like anything else, Paramount's always been great by giving the fans what they want, and they do it always in a very, very respectful and tasteful way. So I hope to see either a Section 31 Features Part 2, or that somewhere along the line they slot it in the future for the next show. Because you already got a taste, and I'm sure they can do more tastes, because they have this thing called short treks. So if they wanted to give just a little bit more tidbit, a short trek, just to keep people's appetite, like, I can't wait to have this. Yeah. This is the meal to come. That sort of feeling. I really hope they do, because in my opinion, I think they're taking the lesson from Disney, in which when they flushed down 180 million on a show that's not even featured in the encyclopedia.
No. At
all. They brought Cara Dune back and they put her on there. I guess they're going to settle. We hope. But the Acolytes, the Acolytes, not in the book at all.
Not at all.
Just a whisper in the wind, so to say.
And with that, we'll be right back. And
like a whisper in the wind.
Yep. And I am, again, Grovilo.
And I am Lieutenant Commander Mo from Section 31.
Sucks!
It's no ending to this guy,
Section
really.
31 kind of shocked.
Let's not talk about the acolytes. I'm sorry. Oh, there's so much dust here. Oh.
The Acolytes. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that the Acolytes sucked. I'll give you that.
Oh.
There was only maybe 3 good episodes out of the whole thing. And that was whenever they showed Plagueis.
But that's the thing. I compare watching the Acolytes like watching old kaiju movies. You know, in the very beginning as a kid, you watch it and you go, hey, the monsters, they're fighting, yay! And you watch it and then it's like, oh, the humans are talking. I was like, whatever. Our monsters are fighting again, yay! Fight! So that was that, because at one point there's no origin. It's just something that happened 16 years ago. Fast forward, and then you just go, what's she doing?
But there was a lot more killing in there than with Section 31.
True, and I will say this much.
And it wasn't a Mission Impossible.
No. Best Sith entrance ever. I will say that.
Yes.
Best Sith entrance ever. They're talking, and they're standing there, oh shit, run, and he's just floating on down. Like, who floats?
Yes.
I didn't know a Jedi could float. That brother floated on in, right behind her. And
He's behind me, isn't he?
He's just like, that's what I was waiting for. Like, is he behind me?
Yeah.
She turns around, it's right there in your face. And what did he do? He went gangster. Blah!
I was
used
mad.
the force and bitch slapped her across the room.
I was mad at that because they really didn't go into the Jedi, each individual Jedi power, like the Wookiee.
Well,
in the books, he's 10 times better in the books.
Well, this is at a time where, they hadn't reached that status, or they have. But the thing is, they hadn't, according to what I saw there, it said they hadn't dealt with a Sith in over 1,000 years. So, while each one of them is powerful in their own right and have their own, setup as far as their reputation and power sets are concerned, but they haven't dealt with a Sith in 1,000 years, and he kind of like made short work of a lot of them. Even though he had like a hidden small, lightsaber blade, but still, I was like, wow, this dude is good.
Like these Jedis that he went up against, they were retired.
Retired? Nothing. They were treated like they were Padawans.
Yeah.
Go back to school and learn how to be a Jedi. It's just like that, bro. Go back. Toma, vete para atrás.
Whereas Section 31? I don't want to get into that.
The fight sequences, like I said,
Section 1's ugly.
It's a space station, not
the
a ship.
garbage ship was better. No, I'm talking about the one from...
The ship that they had from Section 31, it got blown up.
No.
Somebody threw the Sabatuji.
Yeah, but the bad guy one. The one that he was driving back towards the...
Well, yeah, that was a badass ship. I'm not going to lie.
That was garbage.
That one?
It looked like a ninja star.
That's supposed to be what the idea. It's supposed to stab at something. That's for sure.
The garbage hole looked better than that.
Yeah, and it was funny is they opened it up in the beginning when they introduced the Star Trek logo and they showed this ship, and I'm like, what the hell? Is that what they're flying? Okay.
Yeah.
And then when I understand it, it's a garbage scout, and the only weapons they had was garbage.
Yeah.
With the exception of the murder doll.
That was it.
The murder doll. You're all gonna die! Oh, I love that. Little murder doll.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
That was cracking me up. It kind of reminded me of like, what is it? Monkey Shine. Is it Monkey Shine? It's a movie where they had a mechanical monkey, and he's going cling, 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 cling,
Oh, that was
cling, cling. Puppet.
Yeah.
Well, no, Puppet Master was a different one, and I liked that one too. But that one's actually pretty good.
By the way, that voice you heard wasn't God. It was our producer.
It is the omnipotent voice. He is the omnipotent voice. You will hear from now and then. He's the hand that held the Enterprise in place. That omnipotent voice. But yeah, it's like as soon as I saw the murder bot and his eyes lighting up, that was perfect, bro. That was perfect. That little bot, he put something in it. I said, damn, that had a lot of power.
When you really think about it, Section 31 had no originality.
Well, it had some, not a whole lot. Like I said, it's like putting in a little something and then watch the explosion happen.
I'm
See
sorry.
the interest.
I'm sorry. The Section 31 from the Enterprise show with Archer
And Deep Space Nine.
and Deep Space Nine were way better.
Of course.
It gave you that mystery X-Files feeling. Whereas this Section 31 didn't give you that at all.
Didn't that? Because that's the thing. They didn't still set up an origin of it at all. Now, the people in Deep Space Nine were already established. They were already, like at least maybe 100 years into the future, 80 or 100 years into the future, already established. So, they already know their ins and outs. And then in this one, they grouped a bunch of people together. And that's it. It wasn't established yet. It's like, it's there, but it's not there.
Spoiler alert, I was happy when they killed that RoboCop guy. I am so sorry, but I was so happy when they killed RoboCop Jr. Because, he was annoying. Oh, my God.
Was it something he said, or was it his voice that go underneath your skin?
He was just, I don't know what it was, man. He was just freaking annoying. Oh, my God.
And then he comes back as a Southern Belle, which actually winds up being the wife who is now after her husband.
No, not that one. The mechanic, the mech.
Oh, the mech. Oh, the mech was funny.
Yeah, he was annoying. Nah.
He was being interrogated. He had me laughing.
Yeah, RoboCop was annoying. He was annoying.
He did the one punch to that one guy. He's like, one punch. I'm like, but he's what I call it should have been known as BFT, as the BFT unit, as blunt force trauma, because that's all he is. He was just a weapon, nothing more. And he's just talking, It's like whatever he said, it made me upset, and I feel insulted.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I met him at this was it a Star Trek gathering where they had those couple of people from the different shows, and he was on it from Section 31. He's a huge, I mean, huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
So like when it came to the script and understanding this and nothing, it was like all like this to him. Boom, he knew it. And if he had to quote an episode, he would quote you the episode in and out. And I'm like sitting there going, damn, wow.
He was. I was so glad he died. I was just glad. I was like, yes.
Well, hey, you never know. They might, in the world of Star Trek, no one's actually completely dead. And he looked more Borg than he did, mechanical. So it's like, there's nothing to say, especially since he was manipulated into this. And even when he was dead, he was brought, he was being manipulated to be alive. There's no saying that, with science, the Star Trek science, to bring him back to life.
One of the best scenes was when Felipe Giorgio phased to fight the other one. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the action sequences and the fight choreography, especially with Michelle Yeoh, she's had this background from way back when.
I felt like I was watching Kung Fu Panda after a while, too.
Why not? Why not? Because there's not enough, when you look at, the combat scenes of all Star Trek shows across the board, you don't see enough of the martial arts play put into this. Because come on, it's like, you're trained as an officer, you're trained to fight as well. This is not something that you're just going, patty cake, play. Yeah. No, you're fighting. So when I see Michelle Yeoh doing her thing, like when she went on against Sonequa Martin Green, I was like saying, damn, Sonequa, have you been training? Because they look real good. And you have to. When you're trying to portray something, you got to give it your 100% effort. So in those scenes of action, I got to admit, those were good. And then, of course, the science and the overall tech of Trek involved, that goes without saying. They definitely bring the technology to life and give you the science, especially with that trick with the device that she used to phase in and out, go through walls, even at the point where she got her foot caught. I was like, okay.
The battery was running low.
Exactly.
Duracell.
Where's my charger? Yeah,
Duracell.
Exactly.
Too far from the Wi-Fi.
But again, it was an action film, but an action pilot. I'm still stating, it's like, you keep calling it a show. It's a movie, but yes, it gives the feeling of a show because it was designed to be a pilot for a show. They made some changes to make it a feature film, and I'm like, it still feels like a pilot. So to me, it's like you're missing something. So we have to wait until the next iteration comes up, whether it's a feature film or, like I said, if they get enough attention, possibly a show. I'm leaning to possibly a show because I'd love to see. I mean, Michelle Yeoh wants to play this character. She's the one that came to Kurtzman and says, I want this, before she was even introduced. They said in the very beginning, it's like, before she was even introduced as Philippa Giorgio, she wanted a pilot for a show for Philip. She wanted to be branched out to have a pilot show for herself.
I don't know if she expected to be in the next Mission Impossible movie, but that's what it seemed like.
If the next one does come out, and if it's another feature film, like I said, if they give it the same vibe, but now with the extra, the background of Section 31. And then, of course, when you bring in characters, bring in some serious badass in there. Bro.
My thing is, you're in the future, super future.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to do a recording. You couldn't send it through regular communications.
You have to do what?
The regular communications. The whole beginning. If you take this mission.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Make it a regular communicate.
Yeah, but again, if you're a Black Ops sort of organization, you leave no paper trail, and that means digital as well as paper. And since you're saying it's the future, there is no paper. You still don't want to leave a trail that anyone can follow. Remember, they get disavowed if they fail in their mission. They say, "Wait, this is Starfleet." Is it? No. That's not Starfleet. That's a little thing inside the robot. No, that's a little thing inside there, man. I have nothing to do with him. Yeah, he gets disavowed easily like that. So if you take this mission, you're either screwed or you're a hero.
Yeah, I mean, it was alright. Scale of 1 to 10, give it a 7.
I'm inclined to give it a 7.5. I love Michelle Yeoh, so I'm giving it that half for her.
I'm giving it a 7. Yeah.
In the hopes that they do, go forward. And at one point also, to finish the question that we didn't get to before about Rachel Garrett, there's a 12-year difference between the two. That's the difference with that. So people want to look it up and see the dates. It's 12 years that's like totally off, and it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I give it a 7.5 myself. I mean, I'm hoping, as I said, go out there, pitch, tell Paramount, like it, love it, hate it, and get I think they're looking for responses because, again, they're a streaming service and they want to invest, but they invested in this, and yeah, Michelle Yeoh, she is a Academy Award actress, so now it's like, okay, the interest is there, and if it's enough for them to say, greenlight it as a pilot, as a show, or greenlight it as 3 more features, make it a trilogy or a quadrilogy, if you mind, with 4 movies, and that will hopefully the second, the third, and the fourth develop as time goes on.
I would make it into a quarterly. Every 3 months, an episode comes out for 1 year.
If in terms of streaming services, I would be inclined to agree with you because normal features, 2.5, maybe 3 years will go by before the next feature comes out. Like we're still waiting on on the Kelvinverse version of Star Trek, 4, and that's like it's so there but not there. It's like, oh, Chris Pine is in. Everybody's really interested in getting in, but no one set a date. We already went through like 3 directors. One of them being Quentin Tarantino, which I would have loved if he did it.
Yeah,
he has that flair
most of his
of going back and forth.
Yeah, but the female character will be walking barefoot. He has this thing with feet. Foot fetish, the females.
I got it. I'm just trying to picture Ohora and then Chapel. I don't know. Okay, No. Not too much of a footman, so it's like, I'm looking at them going, what if they have hammer toes or something like that? I don't want to see that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm getting a sense. I'm getting a feeling. This coming in. It's time for some Nerbo Chinche.
We're doing it now?
Yeah, okay. Some Nerbo Chinche, bro.
I've heard that Goku is being played by
Henry Cavill. I couldn't believe it until I saw the picture, and I'm like, is that real or AI? But it's him dressed as Goku.
Yep.
And I'm like, OMG. I mean, talk about hitting like the franchise. To me, as I look at him, as like the franchise actor. He really is a franchise actor when you look at it from DC Superman to The Witcher. Now with Warhammer 40,000, you got Voltron.
Yeah, but Goku
and Highlander, bro.
See, I'm not at all a fan of Dragon Ball.
What?
I do. Hate me if you will. Don't care. You gonna do flatten my tires?
Kamehameha wave. That's it right there.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan, so I can't see him playing that. I mean, first of all, why would you let an American play that type of role? That should go to an Asian.
You're right, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot out there who could, but again, you're talking about studios who say, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's get Cavill to do it, and we'll throw him a bunch of money." Because, again, in the world, in the executive world of these services and entertainment companies, it all boils down, unfortunately, to dollars and cents.
Wait, hold your thought.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back. We have to go into a commercial break.
Kamehameha! No matter how I try, I'm not going to be Super Saiyan. Okay, welcome back to another
It almost
edition.
did. One little hair went up a little bit.
Yeah, but that's white, not gold.
Okay.
Go away with that,
My
okay? Don't even remind me.
My fault.
When this goes gold, then I know. Yeah, baby, we're going. So, as I was saying before, it's a the executives look at what they're investing in. So, they're not going to just go totally Asian with this character just because it calls for it. They want an audience. So, like, again, if you look at Voltron, you should say Asian as well. All the characters should be Asian.
But in the cartoons, they
don't look it.
No.
They don't look it. That's the thing. And in some ways, I mean, with this Goku, Goku looks it, and he's got Gohan and Gotens. They should look it. But in the absence of a name that they can say that it's going to be a big, huge box office draw, that's when it gets lost. So I'm like, and it's not like they don't have it. I mean, you can always call upon what's his name? I forgot the actor's name, but he did Shang-Chi from the Ten Rings.
Yes,
he could play Goku.
He could.
He could pull that off too, and he's got the martial art chops to do it with.
He definitely could have.
So again, when you're thinking in terms of casting, that's what they look at. The money they're going to invest in order to make this really look good, but then they want the box office draw. So they need a name that people go, Henry Cavill's what? Oh, I got to go see this. That's the reaction they want. People throw their money doing it.
This could also work against them.
It can. Because even if you bring a big name and your story is caca, and people are going, what am I watching? Or the diehard fans are going to be in there and say, this is Dragon Ball shite.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball shite is what's they're going to call it.
It was done with Airbender.
Oh, yeah. M. Night. Yeah.
M. Night messed it up. M. Night Shyamalan messed it up. But the series, Netflix series, did a beautiful job. Because they followed the script. They followed the script.
Yes, they did.
The characters looked perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They better hurry up and film another one before that kid grows too much.
True. They probably went one into the other anyway for that respect. But like I was telling you before, when we had that discussion about animation and live action, like the how the live actor can bring more of the emotional content that the character, that Aang represents. Here's this kid that like slept almost 100 years, but he still has the optimism of a child.
Yeah.
Of his age, and you see it in his expressions and everything he does. In the cartoon, the animation, you could do it. You can only go but so far. As you could do it as a still and capture a still moment reaction, but this is an animation. You have to continue it, and the actor brings that out even more. I love the original animation. I can watch that 10 times more. But in this adaptation of the live action, wow.
There were some scenes in the animation that he actually spoke about. He's just a kid, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, he is just a kid. People forget about that.
Yes.
And that touched me because in an animation, I've never seen that done. That here's a kid who people forget. He's got all these powers. He could do everything, but he's still just a kid.
He's still just a kid. He's got ways to grow, and unfortunately, he's thrown into this despotic future, where the Fire Nation is in control of everything, and the Earth Nation is trying to protect their own, and water is like very scarce, and the airbenders are almost non-existent.
Yes.
Only a handful at best. But now, and he is the Avatar. He is expected to
bring balance,
and it's like, wow, what a load for a kid to carry. But
again, he's a Jedi.
Right. So he carries it, but he carries it with the optimism of a child.
Yeah.
With there's wherever it seems bleak, he finds the child innocence, brings it back to optimism again. And even his enemies, like the one from the Earth Nation, when he was facing them, they were both kids, but then he grew up to an adult and he got hardened by war. But yet Aang found a way to touch the little kid in him and bring him back.
Yep.
So in essence, that whole story about it falling on him and him alone, but that innocence that he had as a child and the optimism of it is what changed everything. Matter of fact, it might have been, it was probably necessary for him to be asleep and wake up later, because that optimism would have been needed there. Who knows if he was awake throughout that time, then became the Avatar. If he was hardened like his friend was, someone who has all the abilities of all the nations is probably the most dangerous weapon out there.
Yeah.
What was one of the avatars of the when he went into the Avatar state, he was contacting other avatars, and one of them was a female, and she was harsh, bro.
She was bad.
She was badass, but she was harsh. She took no prisoners, practically, and it's like, well, that's not the kind of mentality you want to have. War is war.
But she was teaching him that this is who you got to be.
Yeah.
So at some point.
But thing is, there's no real war going on yet. Right now, it's occupation. So now there's an opportunity to reverse that, and in the end, he did. And he didn't have to do it, her way and become ruthless and tyrannical with the ability, because now you take away what the Avatar represents. Everybody looks at it as balance, as peace. But if you're going to be tyrannical, people are going to look at it and say, no, I don't want to follow this. And then you've now created that which you tried to erase, tyranny. And now they're looking at you for that. So I'm glad, in the innocence of it all and his optimism as a child would have, I love what they did with that. And the fact that it was live action, and the actor who played him just, you see it in his face, his smile, his eyes. I'm like, wow. It touched me even more watching this version than what the original one did. And I love them both. But this one just gave me that edge because the actor brought out more emotion, more content to the story because of it. And you gotta love that. You have to love that. But again, Goku. I saw the pictures. I'm like, I love Henry Cavill's work, and like I said, he seems to be more of the what you call a franchise actor. Highlander, Warhammer 40,000, excuse me. Warhammer 40,000. And
But in Goku, it seems like he's reaching.
maybe it may be. I mean,
I can't see him. I can't picture him as.
I see the picture. I'm like, wow. I mean, it looks good, but I'm like,
I'm not feeling it.
I need more. This is just a little okay.
You say you need more. I don't need any more.
Well, that was the same thing. Well, remember, the same thing was done when Wolverine and Deadpool, when they were talking about Henry Cavill during that disappearance time before Black Adam. Like, what if he came to the MCU? And then they did characters.
Yeah.
They drew them, and then the Calverine was born. And then what happened? It was a concept art, but then it appeared in a Marvel Cinematic Universal film. And that scene, I've watched like so many reaction videos of people going, "What? What?" Even I said, like, "What?"
Yeah, they're thinking about actually having him be
He's got.
Wolverine.
Well, the thing is, he's got four. It's like what we saw was like less than a minute. But to be honest with you, in the deleted scenes, if you get the Blu-ray now, in the deleted scenes, there are actually 4 more minutes of him as Wolverine. So I was like, what else did he do? Because Ryan was trying to fight to get those scenes in there, so that way the deleted scenes, so his introduction is there, and you see it in there. So now it's a matter of who he's going to play. I mean, they talk about Captain Britain. And who else? Well, if it's a villain, of course you have Sinister, and you have a whole bunch of others. But again, thank you for bringing Cavill on board. I don't know about Goku yet, but I still need a little more. I mean, concept picture is one thing. With Wolverine, great. With Goku, I'm not so sure yet.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with that one. I like the picture, but I'm still on the fence. So wait to see what more comes up. And with that thought, we'll leave you with that, and thank you again for being with us for another edition of North Ricans. I'm Lieutenant Commander Mo.
I'm Jedi Power Luke.
And stay tuned. Until then, live long and prosper.